So in this edition of Wisdom from the Workshop, I'm going to show you how to basically figure out what kind of scrap metal you're working with. If you're like me, I do a lot of dumpster diving. People throw stuff out. Sometimes even thrift stores don't know what they have, and they'll just give you stuff for literally less than scrap value. I am talking about pretty exclusively people who don't want to just drive out to the scrapyard and just pay for it. This is pretty much a dumpster diving type situation. Now, for the first thing you can do, this is a big, heavy piece of brass. It came off of a really, really ugly candlestick kind of a thing, and it was so ugly that I went to Goodwill and I bought it for about half of scrap value. It was about 8 pounds of scrap for $6. So keep that in mind. If you're going to do that route, you got to be a little sneaky about it. But again, if you're paying for them, they're selling it, they're establishing the price. It's not your fault they don't know what they have. I carry a magnet with me, and I do that classic, magician's trick when I'm holding it kind of like that. Got it in my hand. This is basically a busted piece of the back end of a speaker. Very, very powerful magnet. You can see I can literally just throw it on there, and it's tough enough to hold its own weight. However, if I put it on brass is not magnetic, neither is aluminum. If you see something that is you think might be plated, just check it out. So, assuming you pay for it, you buy it, there is the ultimate test. I call it the bolt cutter test. Now this is after you have already purchased it, okay? Don't do this in the store. If it maintains its gold color all the way through, you're 100% good. This is a solid brass. It's also really heavy. Brass is about 4 times per volume, 4 times the weight of aluminum. So that's a good way to go. This actually, let me snag. I probably need about 6 of these to equal this guy. Just my own guesstimate. Now there are some mystery items sometimes. This was some kind of bathroom fixture that somebody threw out. I magnet tested it. Nothing. So I assumed it was solid. I was really stoked. Then I did the bolt cutter test, and it's got a white or silver colored metal in there. Now what do I do? Well, little research says that the vast majority of the times anything is plated, it's either steel, aluminum, or zinc. I know it's not steel, so I'm going to figure out exactly what I'm dealing with here. I'm going to use a blowtorch. So here's the thing, zinc melts at about 700 degrees, aluminum melts at about 1400, give or take. Keep in mind there's about 22,000 different types of aluminum, so it can be a little higher. It's very, very important that I know what I'm working with here before I melt this down. I'm planning on using it. If you want to sell it, that's cool, but either way you have to know what you're doing. If you want to sell it, you need to know what you're talking about. If you're going to use it, aluminum and brass do not bond well together. The chemical bonds just don't work. There's actually a great video, more of an experiment video with the King of Random. Highly recommend his videos. He tests the exact ratios of aluminum and brass, and if you've got about 50-50 aluminum brass or any more aluminum than that, you can literally throw a big hunk of metal on the ground and it'll shatter. So don't do that. If this is zinc, and I think it is because it's actually pretty heavy, it'll melt under the blowtorch very, very quickly, literally within about 30 seconds. If it's aluminum, it probably can take over a minute. So I have all this stuff. This is what you will need if you're going to do this. Obviously you're going to need some good welding gloves. I recommend one of these because in the very likely event this is actually zinc, zinc, nickel, some other chemicals cause something called metal fume sickness. It's not the worst thing in the world, and actually not all people are susceptible to it. It's possible I'm not susceptible to it. Basically you get the flu for 2 days, but keep in mind a respirator is $20. Is it worth 20 bucks to not have the flu for 2 days? we have zinc. And that's how you test what kind of metal you have. If you have any questions for me, just write in the comments section below. Thank you.